And welcome to some Rando RPG livestream. Tonight, our panel of dungeon masters, game masters, referees, storytellers, and players will share their diverse tabletop role-playing game experiences to provide ideas, suggestions, and possibly even some advice for your tabletop RPG sessions. Let's get started. All right, thank you all for joining me on some Rando RPG livestream. I am John Maxley Oshlow, your facilitator and host for tonight's discussion on Heroes Among Us, Dynamics of Superhero Genre Games. Before I introduce our panelists and start the discussion, let's knock out some of these announcements. First and foremost, as always, I am truly grateful that you are here watching this. No, you need to see me as I'm saying this. You're going to look at me. Or maybe them. I don't know. Truly grateful you're joining us for tonight's live stream, or VOD if you're watching at a later date. I hope you enjoy the conversation. I think it's going to be a really good one. After the live stream ends, the full live stream remains available to YouTube members only. That's right. Be a member. Have Law Dog gift you something. He's like gifted like 90% of my memberships, it seems. Thank you, Law Dog. You're awesome. Well, the first 4 segments will be chopped into videos for the public to view a month later. That's right. Delayed. So, what do we do on some Rando RPG live stream? Good to see all the folks in chat. Hello, hello. In segments 1 through 4, we discuss topics surrounding the tabletop role-playing game hobby with an emphasis on individual experiences, desires, and expectation. In tonight's 4 segments on Heroes Among Us, Dynamics of Superhero Genre Games, we hope to provide ideas, suggestions, food for thought for your tabletop RPG sessions. And segment 5, hey, we let down our hair a little bit and just talk about nerd issues of interest tonight. We're really going to focus on Bear's heroic backer kit. We're going to push that one more time. He's got like a week left, I think. So we'll see if we can get him another $1 or $2. If you want to, if you have some presence, maybe some charisma, good AV setup, and an interest in discussing tabletop RPGs in this format, you can join Legionofmyth Discord. Stay tuned for future topics and help us get to know you. Maybe we'll allow you to join the show. We already have a new gentleman tonight. We'll announce him in just a moment. You're looking at him. So, I like to try out new people on occasion, see if they work. Get a bigger, broader panelist here. Please consider supporting Legion of Myth through the links in the live stream's description, because YouTube takes 30%, Twitch 50%. I don't even look at Twitch. Screw Twitch. It takes 50% of your hard-earned money, while Rumble, PayPal, Streamlabs, and Ko-Fi take between 0 and 5%. As always, the Rumble rants and super chats of less than $20 I'll read at the end of each segment. Remember, there are 4 segments, 2 questions per segment. I think one of them might have 3 questions tonight, because why not go long? $20 or more, I will interrupt the conversation to read your rant or super chat immediately. $50 or more, I will take it. Oh, where's my shot glass? My shot glass is missing. I think I was washing it from last week. Well, I'll have my wife bring my shot glass, or I'll go get it, and I'll take a drink in your name, and you can force the panelists to answer any tabletop RPG-related question of your choice right then and there. Don't ask like a 9-part question. We're not going to do that. If we make $100 or more in Super Chats, Rumble Rants, there'll be a $25... Actually, we're up to $75 for today. $75 Palladium Books or Drive-Thru RPG giveaway at the end of segment 5. Legionofmyth YouTube members, as well as tonight's Super Chatters and Rumble Ranters, have the opportunity to win, but you must be watching at the time of the giveaway. Else it rolls over the next week, and it'll be $100. That's fun. We've actually done that twice. Just a little moderation note for tonight, because apparently I have to keep saying this, because the 1 time or 2 times I didn't say it, it came up. Don't forget that mods will time out or even ban people who attack any panelist or chatter. Keep your internet beefs to yourself. Attack the argument, not the person, if such happens on the show. Talking about giveaways. In segment 5, I will choose the winners of the Here Have Max's Crap giveaway. That's right, for Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition, Mutant Chronicles, and Evasion. I kind of feel bad I'm getting rid of Evasion, but I know I'm not going to play it, and I'd rather go to a nice home like yours. If you haven't had a chance to answer, well, sorry, out of luck. It closed before the live stream started. I always get people who say, but I didn't get the notification. Follow the YouTube community or join the Discord. It's always there. Every single giveaway is there. So, charity we support is the Wounded Warrior Project, a national nonpartisan organization whose mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. By the way, we are not doing well this year with this charity. So, if you're think about taxes for next year and want to donate something, check the link in the description. Donate to the charity. Well, if you're American, I don't know if Canadians and Australians can get the same tax break, but check it out. It's in the link in the description below. Of course, please like this. I should have put this up too. There you go. You can just click and look at the little smiley guy. Isn't he cute? Just use your little QR reader there and Check them out. And as always, please like this video, subscribe to all of the panelists' channels, which I have not put in the description because I'm a horrible, horrible person. And thank you for your time and support. So, all that out of the way. I feel like I have to have an entire segment just for announcements. Let's talk about who's joining us tonight, and we'll start at the bottom of the screen there with Brian. You've seen him once. If you've seen him once, you've seen him 100 times. Who are you, sir? What content or products do you create, and what is your tabletop RPG experience?
All right, so I am Brian. I'm I run Gaming with ADHD. It's just me to get on and talk about all sorts of tabletop gaming products that I'm interested in, whether it's miniatures, role-playing board games, or anything in between. Come along and we'll see what I talk about. But basically that's it as far as my experience. I like to say it's kind of limited, although joining this band of motley individuals, I've gotten a bit more experience. But I still kind of consider myself a newbie. So just, I like to read a lot of different RPGs, but I don't necessarily get to play a lot of RPGs.
Well, considering that I only have 5,000 subscribers, I think I'm a newbie too, even though I've been doing this for a while. So, Talking about newbies, what a great segue, Brian.
That's fair.
Talking about newbies, tried somebody new out today. We have Nagahide. Once again, who are you? What content or products do you create? And what is your tabletop RPG experience, sir?
Well, I don't create any products. I don't have a streaming channel yet. I'm just kind of seeing how things go. But for my experience, I've been playing Palladium since the early 90s, Dungeons and Dragons since the late 90s, and I've played off and on other games, White Wolf stuff, Godlike, the Cthulhu stuff, Delta Green, etc. I've ran
the
games
dog and you would be good friends.
I've been dungeon master, game master, and player in all of those. So been doing it for a while, but you always learn something new.
It's true. All right, Bear, I need you to tell me once again. I don't know what it is. I can never find your channel name when I do the search for Zenith, and nothing ever
changed again. Because I love changing it. Because I like to mix things up and make them all whippy do.
Screw you! You don't get promoted. No.
Yay! Okay, nice meeting y'all, folks. Have a good night. Take care. Woo.
What's the name of your channel? So I can get it in the description.
Currently, it's at BearGenXGM.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I've got that one in here. I thought it was. Never mind. We'll just leave. I thought that was a separate channel.
No, it's at BearGenXGM. It's at BearGenXGM because when I deleted my at Bear the GenXGM, for some reason YouTube's decided to not let me have that name again and is holding it like a grape that they're going to skin and eat at some point. I don't know.
Well, I have it in the description now, so that was the one I could find. All right, so as always, who are you? What content or products you create, and what is your tabletop RPG experience?
I am a meat popsicle. What? I mean, Christ, at this point in my life, who doesn't know me? I create heroic. I run games online for people. I've been playing games since '85. I'm real big on Gen X. I'm real big on the '80s. I'm real big on me. I'm real big. And there you go. That's really me. That's it. Brian would be better. I think next time you should have those of us who know each other describe the other person.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
One on Brian.
That's honestly, that is a good idea. If I know that.
Have you heard the new? I went to England. Have you met the new?
Yes, I have. Go ahead and tell everybody what that is.
I have a gaming table. Oh,
and they have pictures of
bloody gaming table that I see this week.
Was it made in England?
No, it was made across the street at the high school.
Are the trees from England that you used to make it?
They're probably from Canada. It was just pine out of.
Well, that's in English territory if you ask some people.
No, it's not. Stop your nonsense.
I said if you ask some people.
Well, those people are what we like to call stupid. So we'll leave it at that.
All right. Are we ready to dive into our topic for today? I think we are. So for segment one, again, so for the folks who don't know out there, our topic today is the dynamics of superhero genre games. Wow, how coincidental that we might be talking about heroic for a little bit here, and we're going to talk about superhero games. Who could have thought? All right, so dynamics of superhero games, and we're going to start off with hero origins. So I'm going to start. No, I want Bear to just dive into this because I know he's got some thoughts on this on hero origins. The first question being, what draws players and game masters to the superhero genre in tabletop RPGs? Can tell me why I'm a bad person for not liking it, because I should understand this better. What draws players in?
Yeah, that's a really broad, open question.
It's meant to be.
You're looking at a whole sort of power fantasy, obviously, 100%. But based on what people like in superheroes will determine what kind of game they're going to play in superheroes, right? Someone who's into silly Silver Age, or Silly Age, as I call it, they're going to really, really, really be drawn to games that are very light, not very mechanical. Icons would be a good example of something that they would play, where they can just really just throw down and be goofy and make bad jokes and play, transform talking ducks or whatever it is that they want to play. And that's fine. It's a very acquired taste. Then those of us who are into the Bronze Age of superheroes, we like our superheroes to wear costumes and have code names and take themselves seriously, but we also like the pathos. We like the darker story. We like the reality encroaching a little bit, but it's still a superhero. No one's pointing at them going, "Why are you dressed like that?" No one does that because it's not that age. Then we move into the Iron Age, and people who are into the Iron Age tend to be edgelords. They tend to think Batman's the coolest thing on toast. They tend to ask stupid questions like, "Why doesn't Batman just shoot the Joker?" Or stuff like that. And they think Wolverine is probably the great. Oh no, Deadpool. They love Deadpool. They think they either hate superheroes or they don't like the morality that is implied by superheroes, and they want to be able to just use cool powers to kill things. And that's a whole different beast. It's a whole different thing. Now, you can have fun with that, and you can do a lot with that. But based on how you see superheroes will be what kind of superheroes you're attracted to, and certain game systems will facilitate certain aspects. Like I said, Icons does Silver Age very well. I like to think Heroic does Bronze Age very well. Mutants and Masterminds, Champions, those will do Iron Age Plus exceptionally well. And as to why you're a bad person because you don't like superheroes, I don't think we need to add the term "because you don't like superheroes" to the end of that statement. We can just go with "you're a bad person" and leave it at that. And I think we all can agree, ultimately. No, it's some people like it, some people don't. And it's as simple as that. Why don't I give a shit about big stompy robots? Why don't I care about Real Robot? Why don't I care about Warhammer 40K? Why don't I care about Shadowrun? But I love Cyberpunk. It's all a matter of taste. And for some people, superheroes is just not a taste they have, or they grew out of it, or they never really experienced it. Once they do, they get really into it. Nerds Nerd, perfect example of that. But it's going to be a matter of taste. Now, some people, the closest they'll ever come to playing superheroes will be things like Exalted, which are... people like to call it a superhero game on some level, like it's superhero fantasy, but it really feels a lot more like, Vedic text Bhagavad Gita stuff, like it feels like, the stories from ancient Indian mythology where they're kind of gods walking the earth as opposed to superheroes. The thing everybody forgets in the word superhero is the word hero. The super's presumed, the hero's the hard part. What kind of character gets up every day, does his day job, comes home, then puts on a costume and runs around all night, putting himself in danger to protect others who will never thank him? That's a major psychological step for playing these types of characters. Whenever I ask people that when they want to play in a game, I get fascinating answers from people. Some people are just, well, just because. And other people actually will have a reason for the pathos that's driving them. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not into being a hero, even Wolverine saves people. Even Deadpool does the right thing at the end of the day. Batman is the walking, talking version of sacrifice for his belief. So if you're not into the hero part, it's not for you.
I think right there you actually spoke to me, because that is one of my issues with the superhero genre is I don't find it believable. I like people to be more human. I like to have more foibles. I actually like, before it was all perverted, I like the idea of the fallen Anakin becoming Darth Vader. I like the idea of I don't know enough about Deadpool other than the movies, but the whole Batman thing, that he's pissed off and he wants to do something about it, because I think it's more human. I don't the whole iconic thing. I had religion for that. I didn't need comic books for it. And don't harp on the word need. I mean, I'm talking like for me, like it's just so it didn't speak to me, and it never did. But I do get, and I would agree with you that yes, I think that the hero part, if you're doing this, is important. You know how I am: do it right or don't do it at all. So it's why I don't do it at all. So I know we're going to have some follow-up questions, but we'll move on to actually Nagahide. We'll just go in order here. We'll ask you the same thing. What do you think draws players and game masters to the superhero genre in tabletop RPGs?
I think Baird hit it pretty good on the head. But to add into that, we were all kids. We all pretended to be Superman or Batman or whatever superhero was there for our generation. Like my generation, Bear's generation, we watched Super Friends. We watched Spider-Man cartoons. And then we'd go and play those characters outside in the backyard with our friends. Now, as adults, playing an RPG tabletop, we can do that, but create our own characters. We don't have to be Spider-Man anymore. We can be the Colonel or Farkle Master or whatever, right?
Farkle Master. That's good for 2024.
But, so I think for a lot of people that it's that kind of draw. You get to play that superhero that you wanted to be, right? So
just for example, I mean, who would be one that you would want to emulate or that you have emulated, even if you didn't copy it exactly?
So I've taken a couple different concepts from DC Comics and kind of created my own characters based off of them. One was Red Hood, the Jason Todd Red Hood, but I made him younger and gave him an actual superpower. We could shoot like an energy blast from his hand, and he didn't have the same background. He was actually the son of one of my other characters who was actually a concept of Deathstroke, but totally different. I actually named him Deathbringer. He was kind of more of that edgy Death Lord kind of concept.
Would that be the Iron Age that Bear was talking about?
Yeah, that'd be that Iron Age, but it was in DC Heroes. So the RPG DC Heroes. So it's more of that, like the way the character creation is more of that Silver or Bronze Age. But even though I called him Deathbringer, it was...
Isn't that copyrighted by Professor Dungeon Master at this point?
I don't know. But yeah, so I have a couple of different concepts. I usually take something I like and then I totally twist it, rip it apart, and throw it back together again and see what
now going back to the original question, is that the draw for you, to kind of take like, I love this comic book, but not that you can necessarily do it better, but that you can do, I can put a twist on this that I think would be fun to live out in the game?
Yeah, definitely. But it also depends on which TTRPG you're playing. So like DC Heroes, that's definitely the draw there, right? But if you're talking a game like Godlike, which I consider a superhero game, that game is different because it's based in an alternate universe, but set during World War II. So that
all right.
one,
well, I got to interrupt. Unfortunately, right. I got a $20 Rumble rant here, right on the nose. So Grizzly Beardo says in over 25 years. Sorry, I can't put Rumble and StreamYard. I don't know. I can't put the rants up. So over 25 years of running games, my favorite campaign of all times was a superhero game. I'm humbled when the players still tell me that it was their favorite game too. Super games are just special. Okay.
Yeah.
And I can say, look, as a guy who doesn't get into the superhero genre, but has played a few of those games, I can see that. I absolutely can see that, especially when if you can do something epic by pulling it out of your butt, so to speak. Yes, we know that Superman is really freaking powerful and can do all this stuff. He's supposed to be crazy powerful and do crazy powerful things. But if you've got somebody who isn't that powerful, but is a hero by nature, so to speak, and you do something epic, whether it's through the dice rolls or just great planning or just great role playing, I can absolutely understand why that would be an amazing session. So, all right, we're gonna move on over to Brian for the last person for this question, and then we'll let you guys have a little crosstalk here. So, same thing for you, Brian. What draws players and game masters to the superhero genre in tabletop RPGs?
Well, one thing that I think is kind of interesting is don't forget that superheroes in this kind of format is very much a North American kind of story, kind of mythology. And so I going off of what Nagahide said, the fact that we grew up with these stories, even if it's not necessarily Max's kind of story, it's something that, as a North American society, we've had it around, at least for us, we've had it around, for all of our lives. So being able to get into those stories, being able to have fun with that, like you were saying, being able to take a particular character that you've always identified with or associated with or just thought was super cool, being able to have a game that lets you tell your own stories in that genre. That I think is usually what draws people to a superhero kind of story.
Okay. So do you think that there's something about the concept that you're expected to be a hero that is its own draw?
Yeah, I think so. There's there's the typical role-playing game. We'll just go with Dungeons and Dragons. Everybody usually kind of associates it with, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship kind of group. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be the good guy. Look at like alignment systems. They already, kind of planned in the fact that, oh, you're probably, you could be a selfish or an evil kind of character. Whereas superheroes, there is something different to it when you go into it. Typically, I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to that's pulling the cat out of the tree, or stopping the train from running over the little girl, or whatever it is. Because I'm gonna shill for heroic. As we've gotten to play a couple of sessions now, and I've been on Bears streams, creating characters, things like that. The fact that there are rules in the game of, hey, if you keep doing this, your character is going to become the villain because he's built up, negative karma, or I'm probably using all the wrong terms because
no, that's the right term.
Okay, good.
You're doing very well. I'm very impressed with you. You're a good man.
Look, I understand where you're coming from. No,
Stop watching the squirrels.
No, that was actually a callback. If anybody
inside joke from our game,
go watch the Tuesday night heroic game. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Anyway, but yeah, so the rules actually do assume that you're going to be a hero, and that if you do enough bad things, you're going to turn into the villain. And you don't usually see that in any other kind of role-playing game. Shadowrun, yeah, you're somebody on the edge of society. You're doing bad things just to survive. You might be doing them for good reasons, but let's be honest, Shadowrunners are all technically criminals. I'm trying to think of if you're in a like Twilight 2000, well, it's post-apocalyptic.
Hey, don't be messing with TW2K.
No, but my point is, you're just trying to survive the nuclear apocalypse. Maybe you're going to do something that's not very good. But if you're playing a superhero game, it's like, no, you're going to get the cat out of the tree. You're going to stop the train from running over the school children, whatever it is. And if you don't, it changes the feel. It's like, wait, what have we done? Why are we the baddies? Kind of a thing, So it's very much a specific style that you're going to go into just by default.
Okay.
Punisher's not a hero. Sorry.
No,
Punisher's not a hero. Deadpool's not a hero. They're vigilantes. There's a different beast.
And again, like my comic book superhero friends would agree with you on that. Where me, like somebody was saying earlier, maybe it was Bear saying, we grew up with the comic books, and we were, or maybe it was Nagahide, I forget. Anyway, we were emulating them. It's like, no, I was emulating Emperor Palpatine. Not lying. Maybe I need to go see somebody about that. But I didn't emulate Superman. I emulated shooting lightning bolts on my hands and making bad things go away. So, I played necromancers in Dungeons and Dragons because you know what? You got to understand the enemy, number one, and number two. What's wrong with raising somebody from the dead? Shut up, get over it. I mean, to be completely fair, like I said, it's a taste thing, and everybody's been saying it is partially a taste thing. I like things to be more human. I guess you'd say more. I love shows like Battlestar Galactica or Stargate Destiny. I like where you have those moral quandaries. Yeah, it's actually one of my favorite shows of all time, and I like the new version, except for that it's called Battlestar Galactica. It should be called something else, but
America in space.
Yeah, there you go. I'm okay with that. But anyway, before we move on to the next question, I know there are a couple of things that you guys want to say to each other. I think Nagahide had something that he wanted to say, so go ahead if you got any questions, comments, concerns, or cert.
I just had a quick question for Bear, because you were talking about different games filling in different ways,
sure,
and so forth. So I don't know if you've ever tried DC Heroes.
Oh yeah.
So where is your opinion on that one? Mine's over there. I can't pick it up.
It was an interesting idea. I much preferred Marvel. I started with Villains and Vigilantes. That was the first one I played. Then I went to I tried DC. I tried Champions. Didn't care for them. Played Marvel. Fell in love. The exponential system, we discovered a break in it really quickly because of if you rolled high enough, you get the exploding roll, and that roll could explode forever. Therefore, it was not probable, but possible someone could kill Superman with a spoon. And that was just like, that's bad game design. That right there is bad game design. So that's always been my problem. A lot of superhero games have some fatal flaws like that because the engine they're trying to use is not capable of handling Savage Worlds. Perfect example. You're running a Savage World Supers game and you're doing street level, Mystery Men, Golden Age, Two-Fisted, Fight the Nazis stuff. Beautiful. You're doing slightly more powerful, maybe X-Men Avengers level stuff, the normal stuff they do, functional. You step into the cosmic realm, you start going to other planets and dealing with space gods, falls apart. Just can't handle it. Doesn't do it well. So this is a problem you'll run into in a lot of games. They'll just get exponentially larger and more moving parts, or they'll just completely collapse under the weight of what's going on. So for me, it was a great game. For what it was doing, I think the Blue Box original was the best version of it because that was the Bronze Age version of it. The Black Box and everything else that came after was very much post-crisis and therefore moving into the Iron Age. But it was a good game. I mean, I have it. I've run it. It's fun.
Do you have an issue with the whole exploding dice in any game, or is it just the idea of Superman himself?
Well, exploding dice are a fine mechanic. There's nothing wrong with them. But when you don't have a hard, fast rule that says, no, this guy cannot be killed by this ever, unless the spoon's made out of kryptonite.
Okay, that's fair. I got it. Because that's one of my favorite things from Earthdawn Drink is I love the idea that, yes, an 18-inch tall windling can theoretically stab a troll or an obsidian and kill him. Is it going to happen? Probably not. I would put money on it every time that it won't happen. But theoretically, could it happen? Yes. And to me, I thought that was a plus of the game. But I can completely understand in terms of like Superman, like, no, that's not going to
No,
work.
Mr. Superman is not on. No.
So I
good
do
one.
agree with you, Bear, on that exploding dice thing, because it happened to one of my characters. We were rolling for wealth, and I kept getting double tens, double tens, double tens, double tens, double
Wow.
tens.
Check
Yeah.
those dice.
I ended up, I know, right? I had so many doubles that by the time I finally failed the roll, where I had no more doubles, I had more wealth than anybody in the world. Like more wealth than Bruce Wayne, more wealth than Lex Luthor combined.
Yeah.
So
for people who don't know, the Meg's exponential system that they use, or the Mayfair exponential game system, every number is in effect double of the number before. So if you had a 1 and then the next guy had a 2, he's twice as good as you. The next guy was at 3 is now twice as good as the guy at 2, and it just keeps going exponentially like that. So literally using their system, Batman can pick up a Volkswagen Beetle, and smash it into the Joker because of what his strength number is. Wonder Woman can lift mountains. You know what I mean? Because of the way their exponential system works. And as a result of that, because there's no wiggle room between the two, you've got double of the one before every time. You don't get any granularity in there. And that's one of the big problems of the game, is that there's very little granularity. And then when you get the exploding dice in there as well, it can just get out of control. Like you said, this guy winds up with more money than God, you know?
Okay. Any other questions or commentary about it, what anybody said? Otherwise, I'm going to read some chat, and then we're going to move on to the next question. Okay.
Oh, wait, Brian, really? An Iron Man t-shirt? Really? Yeah, big nerd. Okay, I'm wearing a Battlestar Galactica 78 shirt. What am I
And I'm
doing?
wearing a Snarf Quest of all.
Exactly.
We're talking superheroes today, and
You're the guy who wears the shirt of the band to the concert of the band, aren't you?
Yeah.
Don't be that guy.
I am that guy.
All right. Put this on the screen here. So Weird Guy says the draw. Are these in backward order? Oh, no, they're not. The draw for most people, the ease of access. You don't really need to explain the world to them. New York is going to be New York. Metropolis, sir. Enough said.
Well, yes and no. Right? Marvel's big claim to fame has always been the Marvel Universe is the world outside your window. Really? Well, I was outside my window, and I didn't get to go to the Latverian tea room to have tea Latverian style, and I was unable to book my trip to Madriapur for a lovely vacation. And National Geographic still hasn't given me that issue on the dinosaurs of the Savage Lands that I've been waiting for. They make up places just like everybody else does, and that's what superheroes give you, is the ability to make things up, change things. The Zenith universe, I was figuring this out today. As it stands right now, America has 53 states, and the Zenith universe maybe 54. Okay, so what? Does that break the world? No, it's just a different place.
It's kind of like Brian. Would you say that's kind of like what Blaine Pardoe's doing with the was it Land and Sea series, where it's like I know that's supposed to be us in the future, but it's kind of, in a way, it's close enough to what we understand, but has enough changes in there to, well, in this case, be superheroic, or to allow game masters the ability to shape the world a little differently, more excitingly, I guess I'd say.
I think you're always going to have some level of modification to the real world, like, you know, Land and Sea, or DC or Marvel, whatever. I think that the phrase of it's the Marvel universe is the world outside your window just gives people at least that reference.
Yeah,
you know, because think about it, it may be Madriapur or Latveria, but as far as the player, or as far as the reader is concerned, in that case, that could be Ghana. I've never been to Ghana. You know, it exists, but it doesn't.
Well, we'll know about it when you do.
We'll hear about it. No, but I'm not disagreeing with you on that, Brian. And I think Grizzly makes a really good point, which is that the touchstones are there, and the touchstones matter. But even if you're playing Mercenary Spies and Private Eyes, Once you step into the world and start changing it, interacting with it, things happen. It's no longer the real world anymore. It's no longer our world. It's an alternate dimension. It's an alternate reality. Superheroes just bake that into the system. That's the only difference.
Yeah, and exactly. And I was just trying to get at, like you said, I think touchstones is the perfect word for it. That there are touchstones to let people relate to it, and then you can step off. Whereas, like if you're going to play Eberron or
you did that on purpose because you hate me, right?
Kinda, a little bit. Eberron or Dragonlance or anything else. They are their own worlds with their the touchstones are just fighters, wizards, and dragons. But they're not. It's not something you necessarily relate to.
All right, let's hit the next comment. And this was, I put this back up again. Sorry, Naga Hyde, didn't mean to cut you out. $20 super chats do that, though. So, I might not cut off somebody literally mid-sentence, but yeah, hey, $20 or more, you get the privilege of shutting somebody up. Sometimes me. Actually, oftentimes it's me. That's just me. All right. Then I love games given the opportunity to be a hero. So, I think that's what this genre is inherently, I don't want to say open to. I'm trying to stay away from the word expectation, but I'm going to go with it. It just seems like it's kind of an expectation of the genre, unless you openly state that it's not. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, unless you say we're going to run a supervillain campaign, again, everybody's assuming you're going to rescue the cat.
Okay. Nerd says, in my opinion, the genre makes crazy drama and silly antics feel natural instead of cringy. Yeah, I can see that. It feels very narrative driven, and I feel it pushes creativity more than most genres. I will grudgingly agree with that, and here's my premise, and let you guys jump in, tell me what you think about that. I think that games that put limiters on people, like Earthdawn's disciplines, as I've talked a lot, by bioessentialism in races, by classes having certain requirements, or in this case, you are required to be the good guy. I actually think that inspires imagination, other than just playing against type or doing something, the boring, kill them all. I don't know. It's just, I think that when you're kind of locked in a box, you have to think more of like, how am I going to handle this? Because I can't do what might come natural to me, or I might do the easy way out, so to speak. So I think that there is some truth to that. What are your thoughts?
Constraint breeds creativity.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that. 100% believe that.
If you have a wide open table, people can just do whatever they want. And then creativity dies. Because there's no challenge, there's no pushback, there's no boundary. But when you give them boundaries, they have to get creative to get what they want out of it. They got to find ways around it, to make it, to twist it, to mock it, to mimic it. That helps.
Lagahide, you're going to say something? Go ahead.
I always put limitations. Every game I run, there's some sort of limitation on like either what race they can be, what classes they can be, what abilities they can choose from, etc.
Okay. I'm going to actually segue after a couple more chats here. I'm going to segue. Hold on to that thought, because I'm going to start you on the next question. And I think that kind of, let me write down my own notes so I don't forget. I'm going to segue into the next question with that. Limits to, there we go. So next chat we have here is, so I'll be sure to chat heroically.
Okay, I'll not swear.
No, I put the link in the chat. What was that?
I'll not swear so I don't lose karma. Eh?
There you go. But I put the link to heroic in chat again. And finally, Ascendant replaces DC Heroes and kicks it to the Phantom Zone. Have any of you guys played Ascendant? Because this game, okay, look, I love Alexander McCrease. I think the dude has got this crazy attention to detail that is leaps and bounds beyond a normal human. but Ascendant was it was a physics textbook. Okay, like not in the way that Heathen Dog and I talk about. That's the good way. It was crazy. Like it was a physics textbook. A lot of people like it. Go for it. I would absolutely promote her Ascendant for some people, but you have to have a special type of exacting mind to really, really enjoy that. If you do, hey, there you go. I would lean much more on the Marvel superhero side where it's just pretty much freeform. But
I've read the reviews. Didn't hold any fascination for me. I moved on.
Yeah.
I got the PDF. I haven't read it yet.
I have the PDF too.
I mean, check it out. I've actually watched a few interviews with McCrease on the game, and just hearing him talk about it, I was like, I'll stick with Axe, thanks. But all right, we're going to move on to the next question. So I'm going to start with Nagahide for this one. So the next question, and I'm going to kind of give you a two-parter though, is how do you create a compelling origin story for a superhero character? And my second part to that is because you brought it up. Do you put constraints on those superhero characters, such as powers that they can have, or particular origin stories? So, how do you create a compelling? I cannot say that. Not Capellan. This is not BattleTech. You're not the Capellan Confederation. Did she sing meow? But how do you create a compelling origin story for a superhero character, and what constraints do you put on it?
Okay, so I take a really maybe not abnormal approach. I don't know. So I think about what I want or what that person is at that moment in time, right? So I go through, I set up the attributes, I set up the powers, I set up the skills, I set up whatever drawbacks, flaws for that character, right? And I think about who he is or who she is in that moment in time. And then I think about, okay, who influenced this person as they were growing up? When did they get their powers? How did that affect them if they got their powers when they were a child? And then I kind of build the story and build the character off of that, so that when I start playing the character, there's at least a crumpled up aluminum ball, so to speak. And then as I play the character, I roll that aluminum ball out so it becomes a smooth, round baseball, right?
Okay.
And
So you don't have you don't get into exacting detail with the origin story, more of like, okay, a spider bit me and then we'll figure out the rest of it if we need to later on. Just say that as an example, just to move the hypothetical forward.
No, I don't necessarily get into how they got their powers per se. It depends. So okay, the characters I was talking about earlier in the first question, well, the son was born with powers because his father and mother both had powers. So he had to learn to control them from a far younger age, right? So that character is far different than what you would create if you were sitting down and creating an adult character, because that character is created as a Teen Titan character, right? So they are a kid. How do they, when that kid gets angry, how does he control his powers, right? Because I don't know how many of us on this panel have children, but when they throw a temper tantrum, watch out, things can start flying, right? Now imagine if your kid had superpowers. Like, you have to
So
I think about those things.
To just kind of piggyback on the question here, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you kind of saying that the whole idea of a compelling origin story just isn't important to just the narrative, what's going on at that time?
Yeah, I don't think it's that important. I think having an idea of who the character is in that moment in time is what's most important.
Okay, interesting. I was not expecting an answer like that. Okay, Brian. How do you create a compelling origin story for a superhero character?
So
He wears the shirt. We know that.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, just go all in. No. The interesting thing is, I think with a superhero game, you kind of approach it a little differently. Like, with a fantasy game, sometimes you're going to start with your character concept, where they come from, what they're doing, and move in that way. Whereas with a superhero, you kind of have to have the character created. Like when we were doing character creation last time with Bear, we were just doing random rolls for everything. So eventually it's like, okay, here's all the powers, here's the abilities that they have. And then I start taking all of that and putting that together to come up with a story. So you kind of have to work a little backwards, in my opinion, with a superhero, because again, like, so they have, like, if you start with, well, he's a small farm boy. Okay, well then how did he end up with these, psychic gravity powers? I don't know.
Meteor landed on his head.
You put a meteor up his butt.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, but again, think about it. You just came up with two possible origin stories after we already determined, hey, these are what the powers are.
Sure.
So
in terms of game mechanics, or in terms of creating a compelling, I'm going to keep saying compelling. I don't know why.
Because you're a dirty commie, that's why.
A2, Brian.
Even when we talk about superheroes, we can't get away from BattleTech, can we?
I don't know, Ken. So in terms of creating a character, you would create the character, find its superpowers, and then determine its origin story from there, based on how.
That's one way.
Okay. Yeah. Well, no, I get it, but I'm just saying for what he's saying right there.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, during character creation, you can, you know what? I think I was going to try and make an argument. Oh, you could do it another way, but even then, my brain was like, nope. You're going to get your powers and then come up with your backstory. I mean, you could have your backstory and then choose your powers based off of it, but I don't know. Never.
Okay.
I'm just going to stop that because it doesn't make sense in my head.
Well, if it doesn't make sense in your head, guess what we're thinking?
I'd rather not know what you're thinking. I already have self-esteem issues.
All right. You're doing fine, Brian. You're doing fine. All right, Bear.
Yeah.
You know the question, creating compelling.
I don't create compellings as a general.
Creating compellings. But
I'm more of a Davion kind of guy.
But I want to just make sense. But I want to ask in heroic, and I'm not doing this like oh, I'm going to trick him into talking about heroic. But I'm actually interested because I've played Marvel superheroes. Yeah. How do you do the origin story for heroic?
So there are three ways to create characters in heroic. The primary, which is the heroic way, where you're given a bunch of ranks, and then you figure out what your character is, who he is, who she is, what they do, all that kind of stuff, and then you lay out with the ranks. You buy all your stuff. It's like a point purchase, but not really.
Okay.
And there's the random way, which is absolute chaos, but we put in a set of rules called What If, which lets you basically then sort of go, well, I can start tweaking this as I go and get stuff done, which really works well. Sometimes you wind up with a gravity guy who's got a telepathy power that he just refuses to let go of, or telekinesis or whatever it was. And that's one of the problems. Some people get a roll and they go, I like that. It's like, but it doesn't make any sense. I like it anyway. Okay, cool.
That's me, dude. Like Heathen Dog sounds like he's with you, but I love the random rolls in Heroes Unlimited.
And then the last version is modeling, where you take a character that you've seen in the real world and you just figure out what they are in the game. But that's more for games where you're playing published characters. It's not, you don't model your own character. Okay. But they're both right. And they're both wrong. So, yes, who they are right now matters 100%, but where they come from matters too. Superman is the perfect example of this. Yeah, Superman can fly around the world and he can lift everything and he could stop nuclear war overnight and he could end crime and he could use his big super brain to science and all that. But he was raised as a country boy in Kansas. and he was taught values, he was taught patience, he was taught never to show off, he was taught all these things. And those things dictate how he functions as a superhero. So his background does matter. Brian also put a really good point out, which is that you tend to start with the powers and then work in reverse. And he's not wrong. You can go the other way, and some people do, but 99.9% of people, when you say, okay, what do you want to play? They don't go, I want to play a farmer from Arkansas who
I don't know.
but then he moved to the big city, and I don't know, maybe he got into a car accident and he maybe got some cybernetics, and now he has energy blast, and he can talk to computers. Like, no one does it that way. Like, I've never encountered that in all my life. I've only ever encountered the other way, which is, I want to play a guy who can fly, shoot I-beams, and lift up trucks, and then the rest of the characters figured out after the fact, right? So it's like I said, they're both right and they're both wrong in their way. It's going to boil down to always, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Ultimately. And that's one of the things I love about superhero games. There will be boundaries, rules, and an end zone in any setting. But what do you want to do? How do you want to make that character you want to make? It's up to you. And that's what's really nice about superhero games.
And, I don't like clown shoes, and I absolutely can understand how the random system can lead to some clown shoes characters. But I also think that, again, Heathen Dog and I, we have this discussion when we talk about Heroes Unlimited, because he'll say no. Believe it or not, it's the one time I think he'll say no more than me, because I would say, okay, you got these 3 weird random powers that don't seem to make sense. It's now time to create that compelling origin story and have it make sense.
Well, Nerdy Orger puts it out best, right? I can breathe underwater, talk to fish, swim fast as a torpedo, also fly. Why can you fly? Well, I rolled wings. So you have wings on your back? No. They're on my ankles. What? Yeah, and I call myself Namor. Okay, why are you playing at my table? Look, it's a great character. Let me play it, Bob. All right, Steve, fine. It's that, like, literally, the Marvel Universe in the 60s and 70s is an absolute litmus test for random character creation. Why can the Hulk see astral projected people? Well, in the Marvel game, the argument is this player rolled that power. But in the comic book, he's so angry he can see people in the astral realm because he wants to hit them too.
Hey man, gamma radiation that doesn't kill, you don't know what it's going to do.
So the perfect example is Martian Manhunter, John Jones. This guy has so many powers over the years, writers have forgotten powers he has. They've literally, they put him in positions where you go, well, actually, he already has a power that would have gotten him out of that. That's how many powers they've given him and how many powers they've forgotten over the years writing that character. So there is a case to be made for random superheroes being chaos machines, but still playable. But you have to be able to translate that all into something playable once it shows up in your face. Because if you can't do that, now it's just a chaos bag.
Right.
I mean, for some people it's fun. Agents of Chaos love that, but I don't know why Agents of Chaos want to be superheroes. Because heroes tend not to be agents of chaos. They tend to be agents of order. They tend to be agents of taking care of things, making sure things are right, making sure that evil doesn't triumph, making sure that every child in every home is protected and safe. Not, I do what I do because I like what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a hero. I'm sorry. It's just not, and that's the thing. But maybe they'll grow. Maybe through play they'll learn. Maybe they'll become more heroic as they go along.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions, comments, concerns for each other before I go into chat here? I only starred one, it looks like. All right. Well, first off, I have a super chat here. So you guys should have AJ Pickett on sometime. Who is AJ Pickett?
The mighty glue stick. I have a connection there. I can reach out.
But I don't know who that is or what.
Never heard of the mighty glue stick?
Nope.
You guys have never heard of AJ Pickett, the mighty glue stick?
Nope.
Oh, he is well, we'll talk later. He's very popular, very good D&D live streamer, YouTube creator. Very, very good. I think he's from New Zealand or Australia. I think it's New Zealand.
Okay. Sure. I mean, I'll look if that is that the name of his channel, AJ Pickett?
Yeah, it used to be the Mighty Glue Stick. Now it's AJ Pickett.
Okay. I mean, I'll take a look. So, we can try that out sometime.
Apparently, he covers a lot of Rift stuff, according to the Grizzly Beardo and Law Dog. Law Dog, we don't go for law and order around here, Law Dog. Sorry, every time I see you, I have to do that Tombstone quote. I don't know why.
Full Metal Dragon says, one of the most important reasons to figure out is to know why you are willing to do what it takes to be a hero and what you're willing to sacrifice in order to do what you need to do.
Oh, yeah, brother. To answer an early question, by the way, yes, Minnesotans are almost honorary Canadians, but you're no Yoopers. Okay, Yoopers are Canadians. I'm just saying.
We're Southern Canadians.
I concur.
Sorry, what?
I concur with that statement.
Where are you located?
Buffalo.
Oh, well, you're close enough, man. You guys are almost Canadians too. I mean, you're just on the other side of Lake Ontario.
No.
And
Buffalo, Minnesota.
Oh,
Yeah.
Buffalo, Minnesota. I think I'm Buffalo, New York. Oh, excuse me, all the hell.
You can't hear his Minnesota. Even I can hear his Minnesota accent in there.
Yeah. Okay. You all sound like this to me. Huh? You guys, your whole.
It's not.
Anything north of the Mason-Dixon line sounds exactly the same until you get to the deepest parts of the Midwest.
It's not Minnesota. It's South Canada. No.
Yeah, right? Just as commie as that right now.
Hey, Mercurius just gifted someone. That's all.
Well, before Mercurius, a Law Dog gifted a 5 membership. So thank you very much, Law Dog. Patrick Fitzpatrick, Gorilla Godzilla Radio, Mondo Hand, Mr. Baker, and Anders Erisian. I see Erisian there. So thank you very much. 4 of those people I've recently removed from the giveaway. Now I have to add them back in. Well, not today, sir. And then Mercurius also gifted a membership. Thank you very much to Bruce Lombardo, who I also just removed before today's show because he was no longer a member. So there we go. All right. So thank you very much, Law Dog and Mercurius, and another $2. AJ created the Blade Mage from Rifts. Okay, well, as the not Rifts guy, that's Heathen Dog. I'll still, hey, anybody that supports Palladium, we'll try to get on the show and we'll talk about it one day. I think that's a good idea. But I'll sit there and be like, oh yeah, Rifts sounds cool. Those glitter boys.
Played in fancy. Let's talk about that for hours. Rifts. Yes.
I did have one more. There's no such thing as unique backstory. Honestly, it's not that important. I started this one because I thought that this would get some ire raised.
No, I just disagree. I mean, I can disagree without hating someone. What a crazy!
This is the internet. No, you can't.
No, you're trying not to be Fox RPG anymore. So,
Fox RPG.
I'm helping.
Thanks.
But I disagree. I think backstory is very important. Now, if your backstory is, I don't know what my backstory is, we've got you covered in Heroic. There's a fantastic negative quirk you can take that's worth a lot called Secret Origin, where I get to make, or your narrator gets to make up how you got your shit, and it's kind of fun. Oh, my swipe up karma. I swore. Sorry.
To be fair, I like any of the styles. Like if you were to throw a character at me and say, "Hey, these are your powers, and this is your origin or backstory or whatever," I'd be okay with it. I've never complained about things like that, especially when it makes sense for the world. But I also like random chaos because I'm the type of person that likes to see how I can make sense of it. I don't know. I think it's fun to try to make sense of it. One more super chat, and then we'll go into the next segment. Guy once told me proof Canada won the War of 1812 is that the U.S. had to keep Buffalo. Wow. He means New York, though, not.
Well, to quote Colin Mockery, we're very sorry that we burned down your White House. We see you've rebuilt it. It's very nice.
You should come visit it sometime. Just we're going to pat you down first.
Yeah, and you're going to tell us in the tour that British irregulars burnt it down, and at some point someone will go, "Don't you mean Canadians?" And the poor tour guide has to go, "Yeah, Canadians."
And with that, we hope you like, subscribe, share. Hope you're enjoying this so far. That's the end of segment 1. Segment 2 is going to be about powers and responsibility. Man, they keep talking about morals and ethics and being a hero. Well, we're going to get into a little bit of that. More on the system side, but still, we're going to get into that in just a moment.